Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeromy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeromy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Whole Health Weekly. Tonight, I have a special guest I'm going to introduce pretty quick. And there's a little elephant in the room that we're going to talk about that she doesn't even know about, but this is Dr. Kim Russell. So I'm going to introduce a little bit about her. She's a wife, mom of 4, mama of 5. Dr. Kim Russell is the founder, executive director of Mourning Glory Ranch, a charity that she had founded in 1999, specifically for bringing hope through innovation. We chase out-of-the-box solutions for supporting families with children suffering with acquired brain injuries and related mental health illnesses. Along with using the magic of horses in our research, we measure carotenoid antioxidant absorption, aka nutrition, versus free radical oxidative stress toxicity, which we'll all go over. And some of you on Whole Health Weekly should know some of these words, right? For immediately implementing and empowering healing. Fast forward, as a former principal and educator in biochemistry, she did her PhD in research in nutritional medicine for acquired brain injuries through her charity. When her son acquired his brain injury, which we'll talk about a little bit tonight, her focus was changed. God-given 30 plus years of functional neurobehavior experiences and research to zero in on fast tracking measurable prevention, which we get to go into tonight as well, and for families in recovery. So it is her life's work to share this knowledge and bring immediate implementable solutions for all families. So her favorite, I love her saying, is bringing hope through innovation, which we've talked about on Whole Health Weekly. Remember how we talked about some of this stuff, and it's coming out and we get to talk about it tonight. So let's bring on, we're doing it. Dr. Kim is here. Hello.
Hi.
And we got our mics working like before. Yeah. So I'm really pumped about that. Here's the elephant in the room. Okay, ready? This is what happened at my office all day. Dr. Kim and I had this slight conversation yesterday. My head in this AI generated video is so tiny. It looks like it was shrunk by one of those witch doctor shrinking people like you see in the movies. And I had to just bring that up because my office was dying laughing. I have a disproportionate skull for my shoulders anyway. So like to shrink it to this big was very hilarious. I think yours would turn out fantastic. I was
real thin in the face. I was like, all right, whatever.
Like it looked good, but the AI thing is wild. So
isn't it crazy?
I gotta give a shout out to Christine for making that for us.
Oh, way to go, Christine.
Yes, she just made that. Like, I don't know.
Man, she does it like in 2 seconds. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah. It's like wild. It's my new addiction, actually. Like in some respects, that AI is so fascinating. Like after tonight, I can take the transcript of this, go into this AI and say, hey, make me a newsletter out of it. So I can take a look and see what, yeah. And it's beautiful. So yeah. And it's like, yeah, because a busy chiropractor, I was like, oh, okay. Like in podcasting world, I love doing that, but I don't have, time necessarily to like transcript all of it. You know what I mean? Right. So,
okay. Well, send me a copy of the newsletter so I don't have to do it.
Right. So thank you for coming tonight. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. So let's talk about you a little bit in the neurology. So talk to me about how you did that. So you're a teacher in biology, And then tell me your journey from there.
Oh, I'm going to tell, I mean, it's just been a divine intervention. I mean, when you look back on your life, I just turned 60 last year, so I'm about to turn 61, but I feel like I'm 20 and I play pickleball like I'm 15. So I look back on my life and I'm like, okay, you know, how did I get here? And then I read these notes and my mom says, you know, you wanted to be a brain surgeon when you got out of kindergarten. You know, everybody graduates from kindergarten, go across stage, tell them what you want to be. I wanted to be a brain surgeon like everybody else is wanting to be a teacher and a fireman and all the things. And then my life goes on and it's like, I go straight into working with children. I go straight into changing function and behaviors and finding solutions to, you know, fit these in, whether it be in education or whether it be as an administrator, or then I founded my charity to do the same thing. And it just kept progressing into atypical neuro. It's like, how do we help families, you know, immediately find something right now that they can do that brings them hope that they have some empowerment and control of their life. And that's always what I've chased. I've just chased it.
Yeah. And brain injuries, like, and we see them through chiropractic as well. It's just, it's troubling. I mean, the innovation that's coming out is amazing. And like, but a lot of it was, I hate to be this way, but it was a lot more grassroots in the sense of what you're talking about. Parents trying to find the solution. Yeah. And it was over the time that, because there wasn't a lot of great answers, and there's still, you know, like when I look at, you know, doing all this herbal stuff and the nutrition aspect, there's still a lot to be learned about just nutrition to the brain. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times, you know, when you get these things, you know, I mean, it's just recently that they're like, hey, maybe concussions are actually curable, you know, those kind of things too, right? So it's been years that they said, nope, it ain't happening. Like once you're done,
everybody's been rolling the dice because the brain is such a mystery, and I think God made it that way on purpose. I mean, we're not supposed to figure it out, and He is not going to give us He has not given us the knowledge or resources in the world to know that. And so what we have to focus on is what we're putting in our mouth, because that is what goes to the brain. And, you know, the brain is selfish. You know, it's only going to get its resources for healing through the body. It's not like you can sit there and just shove a peptide needle into somebody's brain. It's not happening that way. So it has to go through the body and the blood supply, and the brain has to sift and sort and take what it needs for survival in its own immune system. So it's been critical to be able to help people by just changing what they're eating. And then 16 years ago, I got a hold of that Raman resonance, you know, that Nobel technology for being able to measure if what we're putting in our pie hole is actually giving the body the resources it needs for the brain. And then we went to work with that. I mean, we just started measuring. I had one of the research devices in the world. There wasn't very many. And I just started measuring all day, every day, anywhere I could find children and families, and then empowering them. Hey, you can make a change. Let's go home. 30 days, let's make a change. Well, now parents aren't wasting money, time, energy. They're knowing what's working, what's not working, and watching their kids increase in function. And it was just beautiful. And then my own child suffered a brain injury after football. So, yeah.
Right. That's a big thing. Like, so in chiropractic philosophy, a lot of times we say, you know, we call it the innate intelligence of the body, right? So when we talk, like my Whole Health Weekly people know, and I've told Dr. Kim about this, but thoughts, toxins, trauma, those are the only three things that can interfere, right? And so one of the things it's the inputs of these toxic things or whatever, right? That those things happen. You could have a trauma to the brain, that's an input, right? An action or something. And then you have these, that one, maybe you can't control as much, you know, thoughts, people are trying to control that for you every day. So we got that part, but then one that's really, really in control is what you can put in your mouth. And a lot of times that is a big, big deal, you know, especially when you're talking like brain health and everything else. So that, you know, let's talk about, for a minute, let's go over the audience, what you would say for like antioxidants and like what we were talking about, you know, in that aspect. So
the big picture on this is from the time you're born and take your first breath of air until the time you die and take your last breath of air, Your entire existence on this planet is to find a balance between oxidative stress, free radical oxidation, because then when you take in that oxygen, what's the first thing that you do when you're born? You get mother's colostrum, mother's milk.
Right.
Why? Because it's heavy, heavy, thick in that antioxidants.
Right.
The only place that oxygen is used is in the mitochondria for producing ATP energy, period. Everywhere else in the body, it's a free radical oxidative stress toxicity. So the people that, and then you go through life and you have more oxygen, more free radicals, the environment, all the things. You're no longer in that cocoon of the womb, you're out, and now the body has to be able to balance that. Well, the only way to get antioxidants in your network, your body's network of antioxidant support, is through your mouth. It is essential. Your body only makes 1 or 2 of its own, but the rest is through your mouth. And even for the body to make those 1 or 2, NADs, glutathiones, whatever, has to come through the nutritional enzymatic reactions of what you put in your mouth. So it's a balance. And the only way that we're able to measure if that balance is happening for you is with this little device. Yep. Now, it used to be the size of your room. And,
Correct.
Very few people could get the number. And then they've just spent hundreds of millions of dollars over the last 30 years to shrink it into something like this. When I started, I had a version that had to be pulled in a suitcase, set up like with a laptop, took 45 minutes, to just set up. So people had to come to it, and then I got a smaller version that was Bluetooth, and I could chase kids around and get one in 30 seconds, and different things like that. I went after them and said, look, I can't travel all over the world to empower these parents every single day, and they need to know every day. And at least at minimum once a week. So this little thing now is available to the world. They put another $100 million in it, and it's doing more now because of AI, like we talked about. This is generating into I just measured myself, so I don't know if y'all can see. I'm super high.
Whatever. Well, I'm going to show these people. So at Whole House, so let's walk this a little bit. So a lot of times what you're showing. So in my Whole Health, we talk a lot about wearable technologies. Those things are coming, right? And so, and a lot of times what my concern always is our biofield. So like wearing an iPhone or a wristwatch or, those kind of things, literally you're testing yourself. There's 2 things that happen: anxiety, right? So you're constantly checking this thing for your blood pressure and all this other stuff. So you cause your own problems going forward, just looking at this thing constantly. And they literally did studies on this. People will look at that sucker like 15 times a day, thinking there's something wrong with them because of the up and down parts of the human body. Right. And so, but for me, energetically, I don't like things you wear to like actually put the, for biofield stuff. And so I just tell people it's a good tool. It's not bad if you take it off and, you just don't wear it to bed and all those kind of things. What I'm looking for, and this is why this was such a neat technology, is almost instant when I saw it, was it's a check mark on your kitchen counter. There's no biofield interference. There's nothing like that. And you're getting a marker that you could literally do it. So in chiropractic, we used to have, and it was thousands of dollars to do it. It was called the Zytoscan. And it tried to do a lot of these different things. And it was great, but it was like super pricey, really hard to explain to people what the heck the Zytoscan was doing. So I want you to kind of walk through, because this one is so simple, in the sense of what it's doing for you. So go ahead and do that too.
So this little device comes from Nobel Technology. You can see the little light blinking. That's where you would literally set your finger and you just set it on there for 15 seconds and it's going to send in lights. It's going to read your carotenoid antioxidants, which is the most important antioxidant in the human body. That's because it's fat soluble, gets in the cell membrane. It can stay in your body and neutralize free radicals, lots of them per carotenoid. So your carotenoid levels are directly proportional to your entire antioxidant network, which is literally trillions of antioxidants. Comes from everything you eat. So if that number is high. Now, this device is the second largest health science database in the world. So anytime that you're collecting data, whether it's on blood screen or any of the wearables you talk about, whatever, there has to be some sort of database that it is going to for comparison. Same thing with AI. AI is just a database of information that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we put information in. Well, this device has done the same. So over the last 25 or 30 years, this has been collecting hundreds of millions of scans in relation to every single ailment in the human body. So it doesn't matter what issue you have, it is directly related to free radical attack. So when you go get a blood screen, that blood screen has all these different things it's measuring. Well, all of those things that it's measuring are directly proportional to your level of antioxidants or free radical attack. So everything in your existence on this planet is free radicals or antioxidants support. And this is the only way in the world to measure it. And it's finally available, April 1st, finally available, 30 million units, went to 50 countries, to every human. I mean, it's like no longer a research device, so it went from having 2,000 of them on the planet to 30 million on the planet. So
that's
now
what's exciting for us, because like we have one at the office and we're just starting to play with it, and people are starting to see. And one of the things that happens a lot of times is when you get a technology so simplified down, people don't understand like what the complexity actually is. Because so like a good example is I brought this up, like a patient's like, well, I mean, you're just touching your finger. I go, that's cool. So, and I pulled out this thing called what do you check a pulse oximeter.
Blood ox.
Yes. So I said, hey, here's a pulse oximeter. How's that working? Like if you get, so if this is such a crazy technology, right?
Yeah.
They did this pulse ox with the exact same concept in mind, right?
Yeah.
So they take millions of data points, created it so that when they get a reading back, you get a pulse ox out of it. And so this one is literally looking at the cellular oxidation. And so Christine brought up go ahead. Christine brought up a point. I got a good example. So
oxidative stress is super simple and it actually look like
I got a good one for this.
Okay. All right. Do it.
So this is my favorite one. So you get this new car off the menu. So let's say you got let's go with a 2026 Corvette. Okay. So think of that as your baby. Okay. So this brand new car comes out. What happens to metal when it starts sitting out in the, well, Dr. Kim doesn't get any kind of snow. So we get salt and crap. Okay. So let's say you're in Michigan, you get this 2026 Corvette and you sit it outside, and then the winter happens and then salt happens. It oxidizes the metal. So the metal, the little molecules of metal is getting rusted. Okay. That's rust on a car is what's very similar to oxidizing. Right. And so the way to think of antioxidants is we have to put things on the car, polish, clean it, like do all these things, and that's your food. Okay.
Yep.
So that's what your body's doing. Yep. Yeah. So you have all this stuff so that we try to get all the salt off, the free radicals. We got to get rid of them to not rust up our car. Okay.
Well, and another good analogy is like cutting an apple in half. Has anybody ever cut an apple in half and just let one sit there for a little bit? It'll start turning brown. That's oxidation. If you take a lemon and you squeeze lemon all over one of them, that lemon juice is vitamin C. It's an antioxidant. That one's not going to turn yellow. This one's going to turn brown. So apples are a good way. And the same thing happens in your body, but everything is a free radical. Everything.
Correct.
Everything. From the air you breathe, every time you take a breath of air, thoughts can create it, just like you were talking about. The environment, sun, smoking, stress, cortisol, everything is free radical. And you can
fake garbage sugar.
Sugar, especially, half of what we put in our mouth. So it's important that you can be able to measure how well your body is balanced. And like this, so this number, just so that you guys that don't understand the number goes 0 to 1,000. And just to kind of give you an idea, my son was My son was around 800 as a collegiate athlete. At the end of his senior year of football, he was going to play football in college, and I kept my kids biochemically elite. All my kids were collegiate athletes. Daughter played softball at Texas A&M University. My kids were strong, fast, quick, smart, never got sick. Okay, that was all I could do for them. I couldn't catch the ball for them. No, that was on them. But but this number, when I got home from presenting my research in Chile in the University of Autonoma in Santiago, Chile, when they told me my kid was 95 pounds, couldn't eat, drink, go to the bathroom, or shut his eyes, and I flew home, he was 200. So what happened? What happened to that 600? This is prevention, y'all. That 600 meant that because his brain became infected, his blood-brain barrier was ruptured, and his body viruses were leaking into his brain, creating a critical autoimmune inflammatory response in his brain. So his brain, being the most selfish organ in our body, was sucking what it needed for survival from his body. Took a 170-pound athlete, dropped him to 95 pounds, and it was going to kill him to survive, because you're not pronounced dead when your pancreas quits. You're pronounced dead when your brain quits. So the brain was not going to stop pulling it was going to kill organs and shut things down until it got what it needed. So when I saw that number when I got home, I said, all right, brain's infected. And I immediately went to work and pumping things into him, high antioxidants into him, proteins, all the things, amino acids, everything into him. And he couldn't hold anything. So I had to put it in a shake and make him suck through a straw. Wow. And so, and he was sucking everything in, sucking it in. And then I would check his numbers. And this went on for months and months and months. And I got to tell you that it took like almost a year to get his body back. So now I have a 170-pound, collegiate athlete with brain injury psychosis. So how many out there have seen severe anxiety, severe depression, cannabis-induced psychosis, bipolar, schizophrenia, anxiety? All of those things are an inflammatory response in the brain. Well, if you were to measure these folks, which is what we'll be doing in the next PhD research, is we're going to start measuring folks that are on kind of the extreme of this and helping parents to see that this free radical oxidation of inflammation in their brain is coming from a lack of antioxidant resources in their body. So if we increase the resources in their body, their brain function is going to start to change, just like his did and just like the 2,000 children in our study did. And that is, now I got to tell you, it took a long time. Now, my son did not bust 500 on this device for 7 years. 7 years. And I'm talking every day he was but his body was back and he was having small function changes, but his speech did not return for 7 years. Wow. And speech is the first thing to go in any type of atypical neuro, and it's the last thing to return. That's why depression.
Tell me about his injury.
So at the end of the day, what we learned is he had multiple compromises, or what they call assaults, on the blood-brain barrier. Majority of them in the frontal and occipital lobe, which is indicative of multiple concussions. Played football since he was 8, so but never came off the field. Never had any of that. But he did start to smoke marijuana at the end of his junior year. And what we have learned since is that he was trying to self-medicate his confusion. To stay on the football field, to get to his tryouts, all the things. And we really think that because he's not schooled in the drug use, that he got bad stuff, like stuff he could buy at a grocery store or the convenience store, stuff that might have been laced with something synthetic. And we think that could just totally complicated the whole thing. But in knowing some of that, we were able to, I went after shutting that. Once we found this break, because it took, it was 2021 when we actually found what was actually causing the inflammation in his brain. So we found the barrier breaks. We found the viruses that were in his brain, 32 viruses, because the screen only measured 32, could have had more. But we went after that. And I, just have done what I've done for 35 years. I was able to roll a different set of dice of high absorbable nutrients that I knew synergistically worked together, that would actually, once his body was saturated, the brain would take it. And so we just kept pumping them in him. Well, he just long story short, we got the barrier closed in 22. Psychosis all went away in 22. He still had blackout periods and things. It took till November of 24 for his speech to return. Now he talks all the time, but I prayed for 7 years that my kid would just be able to say, "I love you, Mom." And
Right.
he did.
Now
He
you're
did
praying,
because-
shut up, kid. That's right.
I'm going to tell you, nobody can put these nutrients in order but God. I don't care what doctor out there, no social guru, no biohacker. There is nobody out there in the world that can put anything you put on or in your body in order in your body biochemically. No one.
Yeah.
Only
Isn't
God.
that a beautiful thing? One of the things that you brought up in this whole thing is like in my holistic stuff, we do this thing called muscle testing. And it's a lot of times kinesiology is what they call it sometimes.
Yep.
And it's a chiropractic technique, hundreds of years old. They're probably almost 200 years old. One of the oldest guys in the whole profession is where muscle testing came from. And one of the things that I learned from one of my old veterans in it was that the brain and the heart are always the two that your body will protect first. It will leach other organs to actually give to these other places. So one of the problems is like how when you have a big brain injury like that, it's because you got to break the blood-brain barrier to get there. So it's one of the hardest things to nutrient, number one, and being patient with it and keeping going with it is pretty profound on your part, because a lot of times, you're talking a year, 2 years, 6, like to see those improvements is really hard on parents. You take care of a kid with a closed head injury or, those kind of things. They're pretty much given up for, hey, it's just going to be this way, and so much of everything I know says that that's not true, but we're such an impatient, society in that sense. We think, okay, it must not be getting there. Yeah. So like little micro improvements and like, but you know, what was really neat for me is this tool is so simple that you could literally have a marker while you're not seeing the functional difference. Correct. Right. So Christine brings up something. I like this. She brought up another one. So when oxidative stress is happening, is that something people can actually feel, or is it more silent? It's definitely more silent, I would say. I would say
killer.
Well, if you can feel aging, that's pretty much kind of it's a good question though, because that's why people get used to certain things over time. So, right?
Christine, by the time you feel oxidative stress happening, it is severely damaged, whatever the issue is, whether it's joints, whether it's skin, whether it's, an organ function, whether it's brain function, whatever it is. By the time you can feel it, it is pretty saturated. So when they talk about cancer or they talk about all those different things, well, cancer cannot happen without free radical damage. So by the time you get to the point where it's detectable, you've had massive free radical attack. So the only way you're going to know if you have that massive free radical attack before you feel it is to measure it. Because the inverse of this number, so if I was at 840, then I've got about 15% of my body is being attacked by free radicals, but I got about 85% of my body that's fighting that. So what is the goal? To live young a long time and to add lots of life to your years is to keep the number high so that your body's balanced, so that when it happens, you've got the resources.
Right. You have the fuel. Yeah. So think of it like if it was rust on your car, right? You have the wax layers to make sure that rust doesn't happen. And the only way you can do that is make sure that you have enough of those antioxidants in your body, right? And the coolest part is the secret is you just get really good ones. It's crazy. Like the biggest secret is if I could teach all my patients that the stuff on the grocery store shelf that sat there for 5 years and then they just change the friggin' little date on the bottom and say it's good again, I go,
Yeah.
that's not the stuff you should be taking for
No,
this vital of
no.
a piece of who you are. Right.
Well,
So,
and I mean, I'm going to do a plug for it, but 16 years ago, when I got a hold of this device for our charity, we had 175 kids we were running every week in charity, all with different types of atypical neuro. Parents that were at their wits' end, they had losing hope. They just knew their kid was going to be like this forever. They came to us for hope, that we, the hope and the prayer that we could help fix their kid. And yes, we could do some things, but really at the end of the day, it's what they do consistently every day at home that's going to make the biggest change. So having this technology for them at that point was what really gave them hope. And hope is where miracles will come. And it's just, I used a Pharmanex and ageLOC combination. ageLOC is a $20+ billion brand. ageLOC is a plant extract ingredients that have been put on the genome, which is the largest health science database in the world. And they put those plant extracts, high active ingredients, into products that literally go in and nourish the body, but repair the DNA and the genes. So for like my son who has that MTHFR, whatever gene mutation, which everybody is so up in arms about because of the methylation part of it. Well, my son doesn't have a methylation issue with that, but that did come back as an enzymatic break, you might say, because they're fixable is what I'm saying. That little enzymatic break is coming off of the gene expression. So my son has been on the gene expression products from the very beginning. And so he's not ever had that issue as far as with methylation. Pharmanex does have a high active product that is methylated bees. It does have the methylfolate. It does have the fermentation in the K2. It does have the entire nutrient rainbow in it. So if you wanted something systemically that's going to work synergistically in your body and is also going to be certified to raise this number, is that product. I mean, it's called LifePak and LifePak tabs, I think. And they give you a 90-day guarantee. If your number doesn't go up, they just give you your money back, which in the beginning, 16 years ago, they've been doing it 25 years, but 16 years ago, that was a big deal for me because my parents couldn't afford anything else. They were already working 2 jobs or couldn't work at all to take care of their child or whatever it was. We all know that. We've known people like that. Well, this just solved the problem. They invest in it. And if it doesn't work or absorb for their child, they get their money back.
Right.
No one else did that. No one still to this day does that. So that's something that's, I call it the 90-day experiment. Get yourself a Prysm, which you can do now. You can buy your own.
Yeah.
And get yourself
and that's the coolest thing. The what I kept seeing is like nutritionally, like it's a very simple product. Like if you, I don't know. I didn't look at prices or anything. I already know there's different levels and most of the levels are so doable compared to what I see on there. So like a good example is, I started Whole Health Weekly because of this. Okay. So I started this part of the podcast because I saw this little old lady come in and she was paying $190 for beet powder every month. And she got on this thing and I'm like, beet powder is great. It's fantastic. It's got a bunch of cool stuff in it, but $190. What? And so I was like, no, you don't have to do that even, and so with me, I just really like the idea of simplification, especially in the antioxidant realm. And then, for my people, we always do, every 2 or 3 weeks, we do it. Like I just did hibiscus, right? So I'll go through hibiscus, what the benefits are and all those kind of things. But those are antioxidants in a nice pack, like something you're taking every day. That's something that's a no. Hibiscus is something you don't have to take every day. Like in my herbal stuff, you might do a run of them or something like that. But antioxidants are the thing is long term. And that's what
I love about LifePak. It's in a little sachet. It's in a little sachet. You can just stick it in your pocket.
You don't even have to think about it.
You don't even have to think about it. And it's a once a day if you want, or a twice a day if you want. It doesn't matter. It's all in that one little packet. And it's so simple for people. And And it's life-changing. I mean, especially with these kids who need rapid absorption of these nutrients. And it's got all of the nutrients in it, not just one, not just beet pulp.
Right. Yeah. Well, and my other big one, and I'm dead serious about this, the gain of knowledge for kids now on understanding the role of health and healing and nutrition way early in their lives. Like I have two daughters, one's off to college, and they both are never get sick really. And part of them, it's like, they're gonna go get their dad a little bit. Of course, they're like, how dare you not like medicine? I was like, I didn't say I didn't like it. It's fine. I was trying to fight that off so that I didn't have a bunch of kids taking different meds all the time. So, but then they come back to you and they're like, oh yeah, vitamin D, C, and zinc does work good for that head cold stuff, right? So, but all of those things, it's kind of built into these kids now because they're seeing it, they're having access to it. It's not just mom and dad forcing them.
That's right.
Now you got a little light that you can check every morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
If I had a kid in any kind of athletics, I would be all over this.
It's really important for athletes, really important because they oxidize a lot. They've taken in so much oxygen. And I did a lot of this with the different universities. Back 16 years ago, I was working at University of Houston. We've got 2 devices at Texas Tech doing research in athletics. We did it at Texas A&M University. Brigham Young has them. I mean, there's a lot of universities that we put those devices in back, 15, 16 years ago for athletes. And my daughter was one of them. And we saw an escalation in performance when they were able to, get off when they come off the field or high training or whatever they're doing, replenish that system because that's what they don't tend to do is replenish their system.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've noticed is my kids are moving through sports. The sports are getting more, I don't know what it's like. Well, it's Texas. What am I talking about?
Texas.
So up here, right. I know you guys we had a kid. Well, I bring that up. Basketball team I love it's crazy. My daughter picked the other one, but I'm a Michigan State Spartan fan, and one of our kids was front. So my kid picked the other one. Just crazy on purpose. But so anyway, so we were watching, and you guys have this one kid we got. He was a guard. He played for Michigan State. He was on the 3rd high school team out of one high school. Like that's how big this freaking school was. So athletics in Texas are a little different than pretty much any other state. But what I will say is my athletes are, in a sense, it's petrifying me right now. They're double dipping a lot of intensity. So your daughter played softball. A lot of times right now we're seeing, and I don't know if this was big when she was playing, kids are playing like travel volleyball at the same time they're trying to do softball. And I'm like, if you're not ready for that, and I'm watching breakdowns, like serious old person injuries, like on the court, especially when it was basketball season. That was crazy. I was seeing volleyball on the weekends. These kids, so number one, they don't get to eat anyway. So all the way through school, it's all junk. And they get like 10 minutes to eat like one meal. Okay. So then they go through that. Then they go right into a practice, and then they'll have studying, which is another whole bunch of calories if they're good, keeping up with it. And I'm like, I'm watching these kids literally wear down. Like at the end of a season, you should be the best you are at the very end of it. You know what I mean? Versus beginning, and that's not what's happening at our current athletes right now. Our athletes are tanking, and it's because of their antioxidants. A
lot of free radical damage, and all those injuries you're seeing is free radical attack.
Correct.
And it's because they don't have enough antioxidant support to keep all of those free radicals from hitting knees or ankles or shoulders or arms or the brain, all of the things. The lungs.
For my listeners, think free radicals is osteoarthritis because it's the same thing. So degeneration and all that is
it's
free radical damage.
Just go Google it or chat GPT it, your favorite AI.
Yes. Oh, Christine asked another one. Here we go.
What she got?
How does someone actually start raising their antioxidant score to better protect their body? I would say, I'm going to give this to you, Doc. But I love this question.
You have to eat. I mean, my husband and I love to fast. I mean, we've been doing it for like intermittent fasting for probably 7, 8, 9 years. So our bodies love that. We just don't even like to eat for 18 hours or more. I mean, sometimes we don't. So that means our body's antioxidant nutrients are depleted. So what we try to make sure we do is we take really good quality supplementation that has all of that food extract in it, which is what Pharmanex and HOC have. And we make sure that we're putting that in our body and make sure that we're measuring. We're using that to fill the gaps from whatever food we're not eating. But essentially, you want to get as much of your nutrients from good foods and reduce the free radical load. Like cortisol is the biggest, most toxic free radical in the human body. It lodges in the brain. It comes straight out of the hypothalamus. It's created by fear response. That's why kids with atypical neuro or any type of mental health issues, they sit in a fear response, which is a cortisol cycle in the brain. And cortisol is super, super toxic in the brain. And so we have actually a product that I used in my research called Cortitrol, and it will bind with that cortisol, remove it 7 minutes. So for kids with a lot of anxiety, depression, even onset psychosis, all of those things, it will start to bring that cortisol down so that the inflammatory response in the brain's not kicking into gear. So removing free radicals from your life, that's a big, if you can stop drinking the sodas and the fried foods and you start to change. That's what this device is really the most powerful for, is helping you, empower you to adjust your lifestyle.
Correct.
Personally, because this is not good or bad, right or wrong. It just is what it is. It's you.
Right. It's a tool.
Personal. It is. It's a tool. Now, this thing will, as you start to measure every day, because of the AI machine learning in the technology, in the app, it will start to remember your body's biochemistry over time. And so eventually this thing right now is picking up 700,000 points of data in that 15 seconds on your biochemistry. So what they've done in the technology is, I don't know, a couple of years, 3 years from now, they're going to start being able to give you your collagen level, your cholesterol level, your blood sugar level, because they have the database that backs that up. And the AI is going to machine learn you. So that this makes it so that you can be total control of your life, your wellness, your health, your longevity, everything.
It's so cool. And I tell people, this one. It's kind of crazy in technology because you almost have to don't underestimate it, because we literally have a $40 scale in my bathroom that can read your visceral fat level. It's $40 freaking dollars. Okay. So I'm like, this thing's bad. It's just a really cool tool. And so this one, people pay big money, for blood work and all these things. The blood work is the same thing. Essentially, this is so much more accessible because I'm not having to go do that. Right.
Well, and this one, this actually has, this is more accurate than blood work. And they've got, 40 years of research on that. The reason it has a Nobel Prize is because it's exactly the same number as a blood serum carotenoid draw. That got it its Nobel. So it is, and everything on a blood screen is affected by free radicals. So
that's what you're looking for.
If you're measuring this, it'll change blood screen.
Right. So C-reactive protein, guys.
Exactly.
C-reactive protein. You'll see it on your blood work and everybody freaks out and all those things. That's free radical. That's one of the indicators in your blood work that it is. Well, why are we waiting 2 years, right, to get this blood work that shows you your C-reactive protein's messed up?
And everybody makes lifelong decisions. They make these lifelong decisions on a blood screen. And so unless you're pulling that blood every day and looking for the trend over 90 days, it's not really very accurate.
Correct.
And if you go and you make sure that, and all the blood screen is affected by antioxidants or free radicals. It's the source of life, Remember, from the time you're born till the time you die, your entire existence is that balance between antioxidants and free radicals. So yeah, it's just cool to be able to that everybody can measure now, because it hasn't been that way. And
if people figure out the price is so worth it. It's like, it's so cool. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, if you guys are interested, come to the office. We'll talk to you. We got it set up in our waiting room right now. First couple times, people were like, not sure what it was. And then Dr. Rachel, of course, is sitting there doing it. And it's pretty cool. Like, and we're just walking people through. And then, but think about the knowledge, right? So she said, Dr. Kim said, okay, so cortisol, let's go back to that. Every TikTok video and every social media thing is talking about what? It's reducing cortisol. That's what you see in the news every day. Meditation, all those things are good, right? And it's true. But one of the things that can protect you to put wax on your Corvette is antioxidants that you would put into your body, right? So are we going to put our Corvette into salt and crap and snow in Michigan? Yes, it's going to happen, right? But you have to have something to protect the stinking outside of that thing. And that's where ingesting the proper stuff, right? So having a great antioxidant that you don't have to worry about, it's all there, a little packet, right? It's just done.
It's simple.
And then you can, and then like Brian, hopefully he's still out there. Brian's one of my guys that I think he's tried almost every herb that we always, me and him he's done some amazing like experiments with all the different herbs as well. But
and I tell you, the herbs are great. Herbs are great for reducing the free radicals.
Where it's a mainstay. It's like part of who you are at that point. Oh, so good. I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I always say that there's a time and place for a lot of that, right? So
well, and my next piece of research, we're going to really focus on this onset psychosis and reducing cortisol and targeting that inflammatory response in the brain. Being that I just did it, I did it in my PhD, but then I just honed it in with my son, and he just finished A&M in December. He's in his internship this fall or this spring, and he's living on his own. He's still got a long way to go. I mean, he's only been talking for 18 months. So he's got a lot to relearn. He's 29. He thinks he's 25. So we're still trying to process what happened to that 4 years of blackout he has. I figure the Lord will reveal that all to him in his time. So, so there's a lot still that we're doing, but his numbers are climbing. He's staying in the 700s now, which is why his function is so great. He's aware. He has one. He measures every day. He writes it on his calendar. He can see his own trend now. His blood work is starting to look pristine. We're down to 2 viruses out of 32 that we're still trying to tackle, which is part of the research, because we're finding a common denominator in those 2 viruses in all psychosis. So so we're targeting that with a couple of other doctors, and then one out of Johns Hopkins. So we're really going to go after with this device now that people can have them in their homes, and really start to help really some of these families that are having some true mental health issues with their children.
Right. Can we talk about that? So let's talk about that a little bit. I want to, because I'm seeing it. It's troubling. It's troubling for me. Like, and we don't have to spend a ton of time, but the marijuana psychosis is very, very troubling to me, because it's one of those, like, yes, you see I have tons of athletes, and then you get those concussion type things. A lot of times it's different. Like, so sometimes, if you got a great parent, let's say something happens, you get the concussion. Now we can kind of get it back. The ones that I'm very concerned are the ones that are the marijuana that they do chronic use marijuana. What are you guys seeing on the science level of that psychosis?
Well, the thing about marijuana is it can be very healing and can be very dangerous. It's not regulated. So marijuana itself has just, tens of thousands of different molecular constituents. So there's no way to regulate it to where it can be truly healthy for everyone.
Right.
And I think that's
It's
the
not out of
biggest
the
problem.
ground anymore.
And not to
Right.
mention that there's everybody and their dog that's lacing it, trying to sell it at the local convenience store and putting
Sure.
it in vapes and all those things. So there's a lot of different chemical toxicity that's coming with that. So what we know is it doesn't really matter what the label is. So the label, whether it's ADHD, autism, bipolar, schizophrenia, psychosis, depression, anxiety, it doesn't matter. Those are labels of what an outward function looks like. They're just labeling what they can see on the outside.
Sure.
But the neurochemistry for all of those is the same. The neurochemistry for every single one of them is the same. And I like to start people off by, let's drop cortisol, because I can do that in 7 minutes and you'll be a different person. 7 minutes.
Right.
It's a temporary solution until we stop what's causing the cortisol. But for right now, that's a 7 minute and you're back.
Sure.
So that one,
your body gets used to that. That's good.
We focus on dropping that cortisol first. Second thing is we got to increase the body's resources of nutrients for the brain. The brain's going to take what it needs. You do not have to try to decide, oh, this one will go to the brain, or this one won't go to the brain, or this one won't. No, if you get the right nutrient combination, which I've been doing for like almost 25 years, rolling sets of the dice. So I kind of have it a good protocol. First step, second step, third step. And those steps work really fast. So people start to see their function change within 30 days, sometimes quicker. But for folks that are in that cannabis-induced psychosis, that is straight up cortisol driven, creating inflammatory response in the brain.
Right.
And so I give these parents straight up, if your kid's going into a CIP, which is a cannabis-induced psychosis, get them that cortisol in their body right now, because it will diminish the effects of the intensity, and the duration of that psychosis will diminish. Okay. Now it's only going to last for however long until that cortisol builds back up. But to stop the cortisol buildup, you got to raise the body's antioxidants. What we are noticing in all of these kiddos is their numbers no one's over 200. So the brain has no resources. That's why the majority of these kids are so thin. That's why they're atrophied. Right. And so it's, and you probably have seen them if you've seen any CIPs come in your office.
Sure. But, that's why I'm asking the question. Honestly.
Well, and the parents are at a loss, and the legal system just wants to lock them up, and the med system, the psychiatry system, just wants to medicate them down. Right. None of which I would let.
Fantastic kid suffered with it. It's crazy.
Yeah. I would not let my
kid at. Yeah. Go. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's okay. It's just kind of my mission now is to help these parents, and I get them on the phone. I have multiple calls a day with these parents, kind of explaining exactly what I just said. And then I'm going, look, you just invest in it, watch it for 90 days. See if we don't diminish some of the effects. We've got to get the kids' nutrients up, or you have no chance. And pharmaceuticals are a free radical. They are free radical oxidations. The liver cannot process them. So they treat it like a toxic.
That's the most mind-numbing part of the whole thing. It's like crazy to me. Yeah. The average person over 50 is on 8 medicines. Okay.
Ridiculous.
And they're all chemicals.
And I tell people all the time, there's a place for pharma. There is a place for it.
Totally is. There totally is. And you have
but it never should be the long-term solution. And if you want to come off of a pharma, this number has to get high. It has to get high, or you can't just drop it down.
Yeah. So give us an explanation, because Christine's asking one more. I'll leave you so you don't have to talk to me all day. Which I could have you. Yeah. Can you read that? Can you explain the number scale, what you're referring to with the readings, like is low considered versus optimal? So we kind of went over that, but on the scale,
I kind of did this, Christine, a minute ago. So again, 500 would be 50% being attacked, 50% protected.
Yeah.
Do you know what
fuel gauge, I think.
Your body? No, only God knows what 50% of your body has got those molecules.
Right.
So exactly. unless you're having a seizure, then you've got too many in your brain. Okay. So but the higher the number means that you're reducing that oxidative stress load on your body. So if you get to 800, like I'm at 840, I roughly hang out around 800. That means 80% of my body systemically is able to fight off whatever comes at it.
Right.
So
Right.
consequently,
Good answer.
if
I
I
like that.
walk around and I get exposed to a virus or a this or a that, my body's just going to handle it. I won't even know
Right.
because it has
Right.
it. But
Oh.
that's why my son is still alive, because he had an 800 score consistently, day over day over day over day over day, of him being an athlete, so that when
Right.
this did happen to him, his body had the resource. If he had not, he would not
Correct.
be here today.
Correct.
So if you want
Right.
to talk prevention for athletes or anyone really, you got to have enough resources in the body
And
to
that's what
protect.
you see. And that's, I always see that, like every athletic injury that's like an old person injury, you like, there's definitely traumas, but the ones that all of a sudden their knee doesn't work anymore, that's running out of resources, man.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you got one, oh man, my knee just gave out. Really? That's interesting. Like, why didn't your other knee just give out like that?
Well,
Like,
I got a good thing on knees because I play a lot of pickleball and I grew up playing tennis and softball. So my knees have taken a banging. But we know, and you talked about this before, the joints don't have blood flow. Like our joints don't have a lot of blood flow, so they can't get nutrients for repair in those joints. But what I've done with my doctor is PRP. You know what that is? Where you pull out your blood serum and then you shoot it into the joint.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
I have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can probably explain it to people. So what I do is, well, I make sure my score is really high. Like as soon as I hit 900, I'm going to go in and have him pull my blood serum. Because it's going to be so rich, that serum is going to be so rich in antioxidant nutrients. And then they spin it, they pull that nutrient serum and then inject it right then into my knees. And then I can go another 18 months without ever cracking my knee ever cracking.
Man, you guys in Texas you guys get some cool stuff. Us in Michigan, we're like stuck in the Stone Age with some of that stuff.
It's
like crazy.
Snow.
Texas got some wild stuff. Like I get to talk to my Texas chiropractor. I'm like, you're doing what? Like like, what is that? Like, it's like crazy. Like all the different technologies. It's like, it just blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah. So PRP, it's a good thing. Go look it up. It's simple, but I don't recommend it for anybody unless their absorption levels are really high, because you're pulling blood serum and you want that blood serum really rich in nutrients. And so when this number gets high, pull it and put it in the joint.
Yes. Get your antioxidants up there.
And then Kim, the joint.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate it. I'm not going to keep you all night. This is so fun. We'll do it again, though, if you're ever up for it again. This was super fun.
Deep dive into something else if you want to.
Oh, my God, yes. I want to just know where your research is going. So this will be cool.
Yeah.
I'll probably make you check in with me every few months. Be like, all right, where are you at? Because I want to know. Because this is the brain injury thing is a very, very near and dear, me being a college football player myself, to see that sport itself is struggling a little bit because everybody's scared of it. And I'm like, is it the sport or is it our lack of ability to be ready for that sport?
That's right.
And that's really what it comes
to. The football was great for my boys. I would never have changed a thing. And I tell parents it's the greatest thing for my boys. And but there is a way to prevent. And that's what people need to be aware now.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do. We got to do that for our athletes. If we want them in stuff, let's get them prepared for that. So, with that said, you guys, you rock.
Thanks,
I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Jeromy. We could geek out.
I know. This is I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, I promise. All right, remember, guys, Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on Rumble. Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing or you're going to miss this one. Instead of me just talking, it was Dr. Kim. She kicked butt and it was amazing. So with that said, you guys rock. You guys have a good night. Take it easy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.